Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I'm doing a Bible journaling tutorial on how to paint a watercolor forest scene, just like this one here. This one I actually have showed a few times in my stories because I've been painting a lot of scenes like this lately, just for fun, and so I posted them in my Instagram stories and people seemed to love it, so I thought that I would go ahead and do a tutorial on how to do it yourself. But if you don't want to paint this yourself, you can head on over to the blog post that goes along with this video at Watercolor Forest and sign up for my email list, and you can get this little printable art print for free. So all you have to do is sign up for my email list in that one. So I'll put that link where it's really easy to find in the blog post goes along with this video, scribblinggrace.com/watercolorforest, and you'll be able to download this little art print if you don't feel like painting this yourself. But I would encourage you to give it a try. It looks really intimidating, but it's not all that difficult. You may need to practice it a few times, and you can always practice it outside of your Bible before you do it in your Bible. And yeah, I hope that you give it a shot. So I am using my Zondervan NIV Journal of the Word Bible and my Kuretake Gansey Tambi watercolor set. This is the 48 color set. So the color that I'm currently using is the blue-gray color in that 48 color set. It is not available in the other 12, 24, or 36 color sets. So it is exclusive to the 48 color, or you can get it separately on its own. But if you don't have this watercolor set, or if you have some other set in general, you can always just use a blue and a black to blend your own color. I also used red to add a little bit of a sunset-y sunrise to my sky, and then I'm just outlining the general area of where I want my trees to go, which is that teal turquoise color, and then outlining the area for my little field that's in the foreground. So all the supplies that I'm using, by the way, will also be in the blog post going along with this video, and I'll put that link in the description below. It's scribblinggrace.com/watercolorforest. And I'll also put links to other helpful tutorials that you may find interesting over there as well. So head on over and check it out. So anyways, I just took a flat brush with lots of water and painted those backgrounds of my page. I'm going to add more to the bottom, that field, and of course I'm going to add trees now. So it's going to look a little bit different, and my colors did get a little darker than I wanted them to be. I should have used a little less pigment and a little bit more water ratio, but it's okay. They dry a little bit lighter than they first go on, so that's something to just keep in mind as well. But I know that I'm going to get asked. I am going over the text on my Bible page. This is something that's totally personal decision. You do not have to go over the text if you don't want to. I would totally encourage you to just scale this down. Just do this little portion that I'm working in right now, just in the margin. There's so many other ways you can go about it. You can also do this on a separate sheet of paper and tip it into your Bible. You don't even have to do this in your Bible at all. You can do it in an art journal or a sketchbook or just a blank sheet of paper. I would just encourage you to do what is meaningful to you. I personally made the decision that I don't mind if I can't read every single word in this Bible, because I have other Bibles that I read and study from, but that's totally personal decision. So I just had to get that out there. So back to my painting here. I'm using a small round paintbrush, and I'm using two blue colors, that same blue-gray from my sky and the same teal turquoise from the base coat of the trees outline. So now I'm just taking the tip of my paintbrush. I dipped it in those paint colors one at a time. So I started off with the teal color, and I'm using, trying to pick up a small amount of pigment compared to the water so that it'll be pretty light. I don't want this first layer to be super dark, because these are going to be kind of the background trees. And I'm varying up the heights a little bit, so some trees are going to be taller and bigger than others. This helps to add that variation. And so I did that teal color first, or the turquoise color, and then I went on top of that with the blue-gray. And the way I'm doing my trees is I'm just using that tip of my paintbrush, drawing a straight line down for as long as I want my tree to be, And then I just kind of tap into that triangle tree shape that you're used to seeing. You can also kind of swiggle and draw straight lines if that's something that you're interested in. I try not to focus too much on creating that perfect little tree shape. Once it's all said and done, once all the trees are on there, you're not really going to tell if you have some weird blob there somewhere and white space somewhere else. It's all going to look pretty, so don't worry too much about it. I would just recommend just enjoying the process and just having fun with it. Just dot, 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 wherever you feel necessary. Just try to do somewhat of a triangle shape. So some of your trees could be wider than others. Some could be really skinny. It's totally up to you, and it's all just about enjoying the art process. The great thing about art is that it's going to look different every single time you do it. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So I, again, am just adding a bunch of trees here. I started to just go ahead and pick up more paint so that I got a richer, more pigmented color. So I'm using less water and more paint now, and you can see my trees got darker. That's the beauty of watercolor, is that you can have so many different depths of color with just the same color that you're using. You can have a light blue and a dark blue, so that's a lot of fun. And I'm just overlapping trees. I'm trying to let each tree have a little bit space of its own, but some are going to be close together, and I'm okay covering up some of the trees that I did before. The main bulk of my trees are going to be these ones that I'm doing right now in the very front, the smaller ones that are really dark, if that makes any sense at all. I'm hoping that watching this will help give you a better idea, because I'm not the best at explaining this. And you can also tell that I started my lighter colors back when I was using these same colors, but with more water and less pigment. And those are higher up. And then as I got more richer, I made them a little bit smaller, and I brought them down to the bottom of that blue-green section that I had painted. And that's it for the trees. They aren't anything special. Again, it's just a straight line down and then a bunch of little tiny dots. Sometimes my dots get a little big. Sometimes my dots are really tiny. I'm just tapping that brush onto my page to create trees. Super simple. Then I just went ahead and added another coat of the yellow color. I added a little bit of a copper color as well, just to give it a little richness. You could also totally do that as green instead, or whatever color you want. Again, you could also just skip this yellow part completely and put the trees straight down at the bottom and have a bigger sky. Totally up to you. I'm using my heat gun here to dry my page really quickly. I also added a swipe of that blue-gray color underneath my trees and in between that, the trees and the yellow color, just to kind of create a more foggy look to it. And it just kind of helps to blend those colors a little bit. One thing to keep in mind is that I did use a lot of water for this page. So my page is a little crinkly, but I personally don't mind having a crinkly Bible journaling page. I do find that they usually flatten out after my Bible's closed for a few weeks. But if you don't love that crinkly page, you can try to using less water and more color and just playing around with that. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and add my lettering now. I decided I first was going to do calligraphy, but then I decided to just keep it simple and just do normal handwriting. And I just used a Micron size 08 pen and just did all caps. For the verse that I'm working on is 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. And so I read out, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That's actually a different version than the one that's in my Bible, which is the Bible that I have is the NIV. And so the NIV version says, "For the Spirit of God gave us does not For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." And I just love this verse. And so I hope that you enjoyed this video. Remember that you can head on over to scribblinggrace.com/watercolorforest and sign up to get the free art print. And you can also find all of the links to the supplies that I'm using, the Bible that I'm using, and all that fun stuff at that blog post as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope that you have a wonderful day. God bless.